If your mappings in Outreach are incorrect, your data will not sync from Outreach to Salesforce. And so I just recently had a customer who had this issue where their contact stage was not mapping to Salesforce. Okay, so we have the contact in Salesforce, and we have a prospect in Outreach. Okay. Now, a prospect in Outreach could be a lead or a contact, but when you're mapping the fields from Salesforce to Outreach, we do need to differentiate between leads and contacts. We're looking at contact status, mapping to a field called stage. And actually, in this case, it's called stage name when we're dealing with contacts. Okay? Stage name is the field that gets updated when the rule set updates the record that's been added to the sequence, the prospect that's been added to the sequence. That could be working, unresponsive, bounced, do not contact, whatever you have set in your rules for the sequences. We have a bidirectional sync between these two fields. So whenever the stage name changes, it updates the contact status. Whenever the contact status changes, it updates the stage name. We also have another field that is called custom 36, which they also relabeled as contact status. Now, custom 36 was also mapped to contact status. Now, these are the same fields, okay? This is not different. These are the same. I'm just relabeling them for this scenario, okay? Now, this also had a bidirectional sync, right? So now we have a scenario where the contact status, which was normally already preset when any net new contact gets created, it would get created as new, and then we'd send that new value to custom 36. So now this is also new. That didn't necessarily change the stage name, right? But let's just say it did, right? Custom 36 is now new, contact status is new, so stage name is new. Everything is new. Okay. Stage name, when a prospect gets added to a sequence, the stage name was supposed to change to working. The scenario that they were running into is that working was not syncing to Salesforce. And we couldn't figure out the reason why at first. And this is why they brought us in to analyze their Salesforce and understand why this data was not syncing properly. Right? So working, when it got updated, was not syncing to the contact status field in Salesforce. And so there was a few things that we were looking at. One was, the different mappings that we had already pre-existing. Now, one of the first things we checked was, does the working field or the value of stage name exist on the contact status in Salesforce, because it's a pickless value? It did. So that wasn't an issue. So what we looked at instead was, okay, we have a bidirectional sync here. Maybe it's because of the way that these fields are mapped. One of the things I recommended, and this is a side note, we don't really need custom 36 to map contact status unless there is a need beyond having, because the need is that stage name doesn't always exactly match the contact statuses in the Salesforce side. In this case, they map 1-to-1. So anyway, this was a separate recommendation that we could just get rid of custom 36. But what we found out is that contact status was sending the data to custom 36, and then custom 36 was sending the data back to contact status. Stage name was not being allowed to send this data back to contact status because of this connection. Because these fields were communicating so fast that contact status was not able to ever get that data over to Salesforce. The solution for this was to change this mapping. Instead of getting rid of it, which we could have, that could have been a solution. But instead of getting rid of it, we just made this a one-way sync. So instead of having it a bidirectional sync, we had contact status with the status of new mapping to custom 36. And then we changed the mapping up here for stage name to map one way over into contact status. So now working, if the field was new, so we say the contact status is new because it's a net new contact, that updates custom 36 to new as well. And that also updates the stage name to new. There's no need for this to sync at this point because these are the same fields. Now, once that record gets added into into a sequence, the stage changes to working. And that now updates the record, the contact status, to working. And now that then updates into custom 36 is now working. So now we have this circular data where it's contact status updates custom 36, which updates stage name, which then updates this. Okay. So this circular motion of data allows the data to flow more effortlessly, and we don't get those errors. Once this is blocked in any way, no data will sync at all. And that's what they were having happen. The data wasn't syncing. They weren't able to analyze when prospects were getting changed into working. And so the marketing team wasn't able to attribute any of those new contacts to the reps who they were associated with. The solution here is to look at your mappings to make sure there's no signals getting crossed, to make sure there's no duplication of mappings. And if there are, to understand why there's a duplication and to change them from one bidirectional syncing to one directional syncing.